Tala, I remember when I first moved to Las Vegas, one of the very first shows I saw was Matt Goss's show. And, it's not that I don't remember people in specific shows, but it's Vegas and you see a lot of them. But you are one face that I can hands down say I remember and will always remember. You had just an aura or a warmth about you, and more of a passion, which was great to see. And you're still doing that show. What gets you out on stage every night and smiling and just looking like you are truly having a great time?
Well, you're so sweet. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just the inner performer in me that I've always had since I was a kid. And, whether I'm having a bad day or not, it's my job as a professional performer, entertainer to go out there and give the audience what they pay for, which is genuine, passionate dancing and entertaining, or if as you know, the band is amazing. If you're a musician and you got to go out there and give it every night. So it's part, I just love to do it and I love to perform and entertain people. And part as well, like, hey, it's my job. I might as well have fun and make the best of it. So, that's what it is.
And how did you sort of get, and what Matt show is probably one of my favorites, just because he, like you, has that passion that you just can't describe. It's there and it's present, and he commands the audience. How did you sort of get hooked up with his show?
I just went to an open call that I saw on vegasauditions.com. It was July of 2009. Wow. And I saw his picture, and I saw that Robin Antin, who is the creator of the Pussycat Dolls, was producing it. And at the time, she was Matt's manager, and I was like, oh, cool, I'd love to work with Robin. So I went and did the open call. It was interesting because the audition was being filmed for, TV, TV news stations, because they were talking about this new show. Robin Antin was coming in for this new show at the Palms, and it was a pretty big hullabaloo around it. And I think the next day I had a call back, and then I was hired, and we started rehearsals the next month in August. It took about a month to conceptualize the show, and we started it at the Palms originally in September of 2009.
Yeah, and then it moved over to Caesar's Palace at the Cleopatra's Barge or whatever that is, the theater over there, and that's pretty much where it's been, and it's still going strong, very strong.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely a great move for Matt. The demographic is for sure better there, and of course, being in a central location on the Strip, it was just a great move for him in the show. Yeah, we moved there in March of 2010, and yeah, it's been going really well. So we can't be more pleased.
When I saw the show, I didn't know what to expect because I had just moved from Las Vegas. We share a common friend, Dana, and she brought me to the show, and I love music, absolutely love music. So the entire show, I remember just sitting there, and I've seen it several times, but the first time I remember just sitting there like I want to get up and dance or do something, and I don't know, there was this magic moment in the show where everybody at the end goes down on stage, and it's like this all-out party, and it's fun. And that was one of my most memorable experiences in Las Vegas. For you, in that show, what has been one of the most memorable times you've had in that show where you thought, wow, this is just awesome that I'm a part of this?
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool because we have really lucrative celebrities come, so it's always, fun to be like, I'm hearing from Matt, like, right before, like, oh, Kenny Ortega's here, and he'll usually bring up that celebrity to sing up on stage. So, for example, we had Kenny Ortega come several times to the show, and he came up and sang and danced with us. Actually really tie-in because the first show that I ever was in Vegas was the Sirens of T.I. show at Treasure Island.
Oh, really?
And he directed that show. Yeah, so that was really neat. And we had Nigel Lithgow from So You Think You Can Dance and his son, and Ricky Lake. We've had Natasha Bedingfield. I mean, Kim Kardashian. I mean, every celebrity you can name. But just the people every night are just so genuine and fun to perform for, and it's cool because we, as you know, the dancers, we dance out in the audience, so we completely break the fourth wall.
Right.
Which,
I remember.
Which I think surprises people at first, but it definitely makes them loosen up by the end of the show. And so, like you said, by the end, everyone's all together having fun, dancing, partying. There's no boundaries between the stage and the audience. I think is a really cool, unique facet of the show in general. So, and I think that's what's made it really succeed for as long as it has.
And I think I think the very first picture I had with you, or maybe it was the second time I saw the show, you're sitting on my lap. So and I found it, I was looking last night knowing, we had this interview coming up, and I found it last night on Facebook. So I still have that picture, which is awesome. What I like about the show, is that it's a smaller show, but it doesn't operate like a smaller show. I mean, you've got that full band, you've got the dancers. How have you specifically been able to sort of, being in the show, taken it and maybe make it a little bit more your own from your perspective and your vantage point? Because, you've been there a while now, so if any of your ideas been sort of incorporated in, and how have you sort of been able to take what was a defined role and made it a little bit more your own?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, there's 4 dancers in the show, but we all have unique personalities and looks. And so I think we all contribute kind of just our own flair to the show. And, it's really cool you were mentioning that, we perform as if it's a bigger venue, which is neat because, like you said, we've performed in intimate locations, but then we've also taken it to London and performed to a sold-out concert of 5,000 people at Royal Albert Hall. So we're able to, not only fill the small space, but then also fill a huge, 5,000 person stadium. So that's also been a really cool opportunity for me, as well as I've performed with Matt in London 3 times. And so that probably was the most memorable experience for me, was when we first performed at Royal Albert Hall, and all his fans, as you know, he is originally from the UK, and him and his friend Luke Goss had the hit band Ross 20 years ago. So he's got a lot of followers still over there. And then, chanting the words to the music, and then just that really amazing energy coming from the audience just pumps up, the performance even more to make us perform the best that we can. And that experience right there was probably one of the most amazing feelings I've ever had in my life.
Well, and I saw I think the very first time he went over to the UK to take this show over there, and then sort of perform some of his songs that he had with Bros or Bros, however you want to say it. The reception was really well, which I think propelled him to go over there and do a couple of more shows. And on your end, I love the fact that you can be a chameleon of sorts. Like, you do Matt's show, but you're also in the acting realm as well. And in fact, you have a Shakespearean play coming up that you just got cast for.
Yeah, it's really exciting for me. I'm cast in The Comedy of Errors, which is a Shakespeare play for the Las Vegas Shakespeare Company. We're performing it for the Shakespeare in the Park series, which the company does every year in October. This year it's going to be on October 5th, 12th, and 19th at 7 p.m. And it's going to be at River Mountain Park, Discovery Park, and Lake Las Vegas. And that's in that order for the dates. Yeah, and it's great because, it was given a grant by the National Endowment for the Arts to continue this cultural growth in Vegas. Vegas isn't just all about gambling and,
all of the sin portion of it, yeah.
Yeah, the sin, because there's all the locals, too, that make up the city. So we have to cater to that need as well, So it's really exciting to be a part of this. It's it's free to the public, so people can bring their children. They can bring their food out there, their drinks, and just have a good time and watch a play that's been around for over 400 years,
Exactly.
which I think is awesome. So I'm really excited about this
Well, you make a
play coming up.
you raise a good point. That people often associate Las Vegas and Sin City with just the gambling, the drinking, the anything that would be considered an adult thing to do, to be an escape. But there really is a whole lot of talent here on the Strip, and a big pool of talent here on the Strip. And I've seen probably most of the shows on there. Who's somebody that you look up to, that you get your inspiration from, or that you admired and sort of has molded you into who you are today as a dancer, actress, performer?
Well, I guess on a bigger scale, one of my favorite movies is While You Were Sleeping, and it has Sandra Bullock in it. And, I love that film. That film I think is from, I want to say, like the early 90s or something. Which, that was before she won the Oscar and everything. But I've always admired her and her work. And coming to Vegas was a really cool move for me. And my background was ballet. I trained at 2 conservatories on the East Coast in Russian ballet method. I danced for some companies in Colorado, including Colorado Ballet. And then I moved to Vegas, and, that's when I started doing shows and started doing modeling and getting involved in the acting world with commercials and all that. So moving to Vegas definitely was just an awesome move for me, artistically wise, because I was able to grow as an actress. And then now I'm also going into LA, and that's where I got my training. And so Vegas has definitely just been a great place for me to grow and do a ton of film and commercial work.
Well,
Which people don't even probably think of out here.
I like that you're kind of you're like me. I don't know whether it's my attention span or just my natural inclination to jump all over the board and just try everything, but I like it because at least it tells you what you don't like and what you do like, and you can kind of focus in. You mentioned Sandra Bullock. I actually just had the pleasure of meeting her a few months ago, and I got to tell you, one of the classiest people you could ever meet, because she's just so down to earth and so nice and so genuine. And so she's not a bad one to, emulate, if you will, or want to aspire to be like when it comes to the acting world. When you do all of these things, is there one that you like more? Do you like acting more? Do you like dancing more? Do you like, the classical acting, if you will, the Shakespearean kind of thing, or do you just like it all?
My goal is to always keep growing as an artist, and so definitely, as I kept doing more commercials and all that, I was like, okay, well, I really need to get the training to really be serious about being an actor. I made the trek every week to LA, and I still do, to have gotten the training there. I trained at the Joanne Vera and D.W. Brown studio in Santa Monica, which is Meisner-based training. And I guess now that I'm kind of getting older and
oh, please.
and I'm just continuing my growth. I guess I identify myself probably more as an actress now, because when I was younger, I was just full tunnel vision with dance. But now I'm my focus now is with acting, and of course dance has a great what would I say, bonus to that, because I can play roles that need to have my dance skills, which a lot of commercials they call for dancers all the time. Mm-hmm. So it's great. And I totally enjoy dance. I just think now, as far as artistically, I'm just really focusing on my acting, and I like it all. I have a couple of film premieres coming up. One is a short film I did in Vegas. That one's premiering on September 29th. And another one is called Unidentified, and that one's premiering at the Downtown Independent in Los Angeles That one's going to be available on DVD starting October 8th, and it's also coming out on iTunes and other mediums as well on October 8th. But that premieres on October 2nd. Yeah, I mean, I just, whether it be dance or acting, I just want to do the best I can and be the best artist that I can.
I think for somebody to sort of experience it all and then say, all right, this is what I want to do, versus, instead of kind of going through everything and deciding later, like, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. You're doing it the right way, and you've honed in on a lot of your skills, and I think that's important. I'm trying to find it, and of course I'm not going to be able to find it because I found it randomly yesterday, but we're both on the same app called Telly. And I just happened to find you, maybe this is on your Facebook page too, but you did like sort of a comedy reel where you're on the phone, I think, with an insurance company.
Oh, yeah, that's from the comedy web series I did called Country Garden Insurance.
Hi, I saw your insurance ad on Craigslist. Is this a real thing? On like that foot modeling job I applied to? I've had like 6 or 7 DUIs. It's so hard to keep track. Basically, I've been told that I'm uninsurable or something. Are you calling about the high-speed chase? Because it wasn't me. It was, Bizarro me. She had a goatee. You guys are so adorable. You argue just like my grandparents. Before they killed each other. I don't think I could ever work at home. Home is where I keep my Jenga. I would just play with that like all day. I know! Have you ever seen when people put eyelashes on their cars? It looks like a face! A face!
And I play this calamitous valley girl, Jessica, who is being denied by every insurance company, and she finds this one insurance company that will finally cover her. And it's just a funny web series of exchanges between the insurance company, which is comprised of a couple, a male and female couple, and then myself.
It was cute. Yeah. It was very cute.
Thanks. Yeah, it was fun playing that role, and that the director was also the male actor in that. And I did a web series with him in Vegas called The Unemployed, where I played a disgruntled news reporter that was out for blood.
Hopefully not emulated after me or the other news reporters that you know down.
Thanks, Dick. Hits sheer pandemonium after a job fair turned deadly. HR executive Edmund Edwards was killed by a bus in a crosswalk. Wait, I'm being told his name was to be kept confidential until his family could be notified. Sorry, folks, but you did hear it first on Team Action Force News Squad 7. I should be reporting real news. Instead, I'm covering advertising agency interviews a wino. Will a blonde white girl please go missing so something better to report on? This is hell.
Yeah, I can base it off a lot of people that I know in town. Trying to get that, hot story off the presses. And
you had a lot of good people to get inspiration from on that role, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's really cool because, as you know, Matt did his Lovely Las Vegas song for the More Show on Fox 5. And then, of course, our friend Dana Roselli, is a news reporter, and she comes to the show all the time. And so it was fun playing that role too. And the director of that now lives in Burbank, and we shot the other web series, the Country Garden Insurance web series, in California. So.
You mentioned the news reporting. It's funny because, I never, and maybe until I moved here, I never even realized that part of news reporting is acting in some way, even though I didn't really consider that. And I don't ever, I can't say never with anything, but I have no desire to be an actor, but I just thought it was funny that some people likened it to acting. And I'm like, well, I guess you're right. In a certain sense, there is an acting that's involved with it. But if Tala was not a dancer, or Tala was not an actress or a performer, what would Tala be?
Oh, man. I guess I've identified with that for so long. But I've always loved photography. I love to travel. So, I mean, if I had something else to do, I would love to be, a travel writer. I love to write, so I would love to be a travel writer and photographer. Every time I like to try and take one big trip a year where I go overseas or something. And every time, my husband and I go someplace, I am just there with my camera. I just have this Canon Rebel XSI. It's nothing major, but it helps to take some good pictures.
No, well, I mean, it's. I ask this question of a lot of artists, and it's funny because I'm the same way. When the art, if you're an artist, you can't imagine doing anything but something in the art field or in the art form. So whatever it is you would be doing if you weren't doing that, it always seems to fall into another art category. So that's actually kind of funny. Nobody's ever answered that question differently. It's all something within the art form, whether it be an actor, singer, dancer, photographer, writer. So that's good. Can't take the
Yeah,
artist out of
I
you.
mean, and I was like, I guess being a movie critic would be cool, or I guess it's all within the art realm. What else would be? I love fashion and I love makeup, so being a makeup artist.
What does
I always thought being an editor of a fashion magazine would be fun too.
I think that would, and I've thought about that too. I do love writing for, well, I mean, obviously I write for a magazine now, but I've always thought, man, that would be so cool to put a magazine together and just sort of have the creative control to do what you want to do. And then I thought, but you know what? They must have one of the most, and I've done the newsroom thing, so I could probably just imagine what they go through in the magazine world. But man, what a stressful job, and having to, every month come up with that new cover. And I was told that Pink is in this, she's on a cover, and I can't remember the name of the magazine. I just happened to see a clip the other day, and it took them 6 months just to get the cover right for her, like as far as the whole artistic and what they wanted to do. And I'm like, 6 months for a cover? That is a long time. I would have had to give myself 3 days. If I can't figure it out in 3 days, forget it.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it's amazing like all the new articles that they come up with, and all the deadlines they have to keep to get out all this material within a month at a time. I mean, it's just a lot of work.
I can imagine. Well, then the magazine I write for is a weekly one. I'm like, I don't know how they do it. I really don't. I'm exhausted by Friday. Who's the one person in your life that has, and it could be anybody, but particularly somebody that you're close with or know, who's really just been the best role model, the best inspiration for you?
Well, I'd probably say both my mom and dad. They're both just very hard workers, and they, supported my dream ever since I was a kid. They would drive me back and forth. One time it was 2 hours each way to get to ballet class. My mom is a fourth grade teacher. She's trying to retire at the end of this year, but I have a feeling she might go for a few more years. She's from the Philippines, and she got her master's in education super young. She graduated from college when she was 19, but then got her master's by the time she was 22, 23, has been teaching ever since. So just her endurance and her passion for her teaching, definitely just like translates to, my passion for what I do, because I saw that she took very seriously. She just didn't go to work and phone it in. I think if you decide on a profession or career, you have to work every day on it to make yourself better. And I think that definitely applies to what my mom did in her teaching career. And then my dad is he's a man of many trades. Maybe that's where I got all of my interests. My dad is an ordained minister, but he also got his doctorate in educational psychology. So he was a psychologist, guidance counselor, and he also taught kids with special needs. And so, him, dedicating his life to, furthering his education and getting better at all the different things that he did, inspired me to be the best that I can be in what I've chosen to do. So, yeah, so they both have inspired me for sure.
Well, I mean, and I must say that they have done a wonderful job. So it's good, and it's always great to meet people who are passionate, and you talk about taking it seriously, and I couldn't agree more. I think there are a lot of people who get to a point in their career or in their life, and they think that learning is done too, that they've learned all they're going to need to know, and no, learning really is a lifelong venture and journey, and that's what I love. Finish this statement for me. Before I'm ready to call it a day, I must achieve.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I guess I must achieve. I guess where I affected another person in a positive way. Whether it be doing a good job for my boss Matt Goss at the show, or just making somebody laugh over something that might have been causing them some sadness in their day or something, and I was able to help cheer them up. Because me, I'm a positive, kind of quirky, crazy person, so I always just like to put a smile on people's faces. And
and I like that you said that that you'd like to affect somebody in a positive way. I think most people would have a very maybe not consciously thinking of it, but maybe have a selfish answer to that, like I must do this, and yours was actually thinking about somebody else. So that's always big in my book. What is your favorite? What is as a dancer and as a performer? I know that you guys work a lot of crazy hours and sometimes in the middle of the night. What is your comfort food? What is something you absolutely must have that makes you happy as far as food?
Every day I have to have chocolate in some form. I mean, a lot of women can say that, but I'm just a chocolate lover of anything and everything chocolate. So, whether it be a piece of dark chocolate at night or a mocha in the morning, I love chocolate. So if you want to get on my good side, just give me some chocolate that day.
Very good to know. And if people want to get on mine, it's ice cream. I swear to God, I could eat ice cream nonstop. What is something about you that people would be surprised to know, given what you do? Or you know what? Answer that however you'd like. What is something people would be surprised to know about you?
Well, I guess because I live in Vegas and, I'm a dancer on the Strip and everything, a lot of people are really surprised to know that I'm married.
I didn't know you were married until you brought it up in the interview.
Yeah, I mean, I married my second boyfriend ever. Maybe because it's of like what I do, and they're just like really surprised that I'm married. And my husband Jim, he's a civil engineer, and so he's completely opposite from what I do. But his support and his love has definitely helped me to be the best person I can be artistically, and just growing as a human being in general. Like, he's been there for me.
He sounds the opposite of you, but I think that's what makes any artist who is in a relationship, I think that's what makes it work. If an artist were to marry or be with another artist, I don't even know what that would look like, but you sometimes need the person who's the math related, the math oriented person or the science oriented person to help ground the artist, and vice versa. So
it's good to like come home and kind of like brush off having to be that entertainer or whatever. I could just chill and be really grounded with him. You know what I mean? Like when I'm with him and stuff.
I ask the people this, and sometimes they don't have an answer, but has there been one particular moment in a show where you're just like, this is the worst thing the worst performance you've ever had, or worst thing that's ever happened in a show, or something that just went terribly wrong? Do you have a moment like that?
I'm trying to think ever. Well, I mean, this is when I was a little kid, but I had, at my first piano recital, I kept rehearsing over and over this one song, and I got up there and just completely froze and just literally kept playing the same 8 bars over and over and over again. I mean, I think my piano teacher was just like shocked in horror, and like my parents were like, "What is going on?"
All this money we've just spent on her lessons, and this is what we get.
Yeah, I mean, I was probably, I don't want to say like maybe 6 or 7, and I got up there and my brain completely had a brain fart, I guess.
Do you still play the piano?
What?
Do you still play the piano?
No, I don't. I took lessons in piano and violin and voice, and there was a point when I was a teenager and it was just beginning to be like too much. It's, because I was really serious about school too. So I just decided to hone in with my training and dance, and then also focusing on school, because there comes a point where it's like, there's so much rehearsal time you do, and so I decided to stick with dance.
Oh yeah, and I mean sometimes you just can only do so
And
much.
I actually left home when I was 15 to, train in a couple of ballet boarding schools in dance. And, I like dance better than piano, so.
What is your dream role? What is your dream gig?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I guess if I had to go for the moon, I would say, to be a leading lady in a film that is in theaters nationwide. I mean, that would be really, really cool. I think it'd be fun to do a comedy with Jim Carrey. I love comedy, and um, to have like a blockbuster film with Jim Carrey or Kristen Wiig or any of the guys from The Hangover, I think would be amazing. Or to do a sitcom comedy would also be another dream of mine. So.
I think you and I must share the same love of comedy. All the people that you just mentioned, and this is all recent. I would say within the last year, I've gotten a chance to meet all of them. And I'll tell you, Jim Carrey in a press conference is just hysterical because he's. I don't think that man is ever out of role. I think he's always in the Jim Carrey role, which is amazing. And Kristen Wiig, she's actually from my hometown, so I had the chance to meet her, and very, very funny lady, very funny lady. And I think obviously the gentleman from Hangover. They're all really talented actors. Actually, you'd think in that role that they're just like some boobs out there on the screen trying to make money. No, they're actually very well educated and great actors. So you've surrounded yourself with some good people there as far as who you like to act with and perform with.
Yeah, I mean, comedy is considered to be harder than drama, and so to do comedy, you really have to be a trained actor. And to help with that, I've been taking improv classes at the Upright Citizens Brigade, also known as UCB in Los Angeles, which was originally started by Amy Poehler. And so, yeah, it's just all about, once again, fine tuning and honing in on your craft and taking it seriously. It's comedy, but you're still taking it seriously.
Well, and I think it's the timing in comedy. I think the drama you can sort of, the timing is sort of set there. It's the emotion sort of sets the time there. In comedy, it's anything can happen, and that's what the beauty of it is. And I think it's the timing there. But so I think you're right. Comedy, it is harder to be funny.
Yeah, it's definitely just kind of that instinctual timing and the the your inner you have to have that with drama too, your inner impulse of when to respond, and how to respond. So yeah, it's super fun. I love doing comedy, as you probably found out from my comedy reels.
Well, which was
that I like doing.
It was a bit of a surprise. I didn't because I hadn't seen that side of you, and I thought it was very funny. And I'm like, and I watched the entire thing because I had never seen that side of you. So it was refreshing to see a different side of somebody when you sort of have an idea of what they are all about. So anything you want to add before? Because I know there's some things you can't talk about, but anything you want to add before we wrap up?
It was neat to have Tom Cruise at my graduation ceremony. He was a surprise commencement speaker. And it was the most amazing display of tears of joy. As any actors, in our training, we have to have, tears of sadness, but then, also tears of joy.
Sure.
And that was, I can definitely look back on that experience as probably like the biggest experience of tears of joy in my life when he came out.
Well, yeah,
that was hilarious.
You could have had any actor there, but it really, I think, makes a difference to have maybe almost like a sign too, when you have like a well-accomplished actor or actress who is delivering the speech and really sending you guys off into the world to anybody off in the world to start their craft and make their mark on it. So that does resonate very well. Was there one thing in particular that Tom Cruise said that you took to heart and you still take to heart?
Yeah, I mean he was saying that the first major film he did was called Taps, and that he really hadn't had any experience on set or any idea of what a film set looked like. He just went around and did his homework and went to all the different